Today we're going to be attempting to do the impossible, something that's never been attempted, let alone accomplished. We're going to be diving headfirst to achieve the unthinkable, the pursuit of perfection, the pursuit of platinum. Big thank you to Surfshark for the sponsor, more on them later. But what is platinum, you may ask? It's more than just shiny little trophies that pop up in the corner of our screens. It's a testament to one's skills, dedication, and perseverance. Some trophies can take weeks or even longer to obtain. Achieving platinum in a game, also known as collecting every achievement if you're on Xbox or if you're on Steam, signifies mastery over every aspect of the game. And today we're going to be platinuming Destiny 2. But there's a catch. Today we're going to be attempting to collect every single Destiny 2 trophy in the game or achieving platinum in one stream. Is this challenge even possible? Who knows? Most of these trophies were created and designed for the 2017 and 2018 versions of Destiny 2, so that means there's a chance that these aren't even possible to obtain anymore. But that's what makes this fun. Also, I had to wait over half a year to start this challenge, but I'm not gonna spoil why. If you end up enjoying challenges like these, make sure to hit the like button, and if you're new, go ahead and subscribe as we'd love to have you, and if this video hits 5,000 likes, we'll attempt to collect every single trophy in Destiny 1. Also, I'll be doing more challenges like these at twitch.tv/cbgray, so if you want to see these live, make sure to come check us out. Lastly, I made a Patreon. It's no secret that I've been doing a bunch of challenges, but I want to do even more, and I want them to be bigger, and I want them to be crazier, and I want to push my limits and maybe even try different games as well. But the problem is that these bigger challenges take a lot of time, and it requires me to stream less and do a lot more editing to put together these high-produced videos. And that's why we created this. We have 2 tiers, one for early access on these challenges as well as getting your name on the credits of the videos, and the second tier will give you the ability to help choose what challenges we attempt next. The link is in the description for anybody interested, and thank you so much. Now back to the trophies. Why should you care? And better yet, why does this even matter? Well, achieving platinum isn't just about bragging rights, but it's about the feeling of completing every single aspect of a game, leaving no stone unturned, and having that sweet, sweet feeling of 100%ing a game.
Yeah!
And I've fallen in love with that feeling over the years. But despite this love, I find myself wanting even more. Game developers design their trophies to be achieved over a long period of time to keep players playing. It's definitely not something that should be done in one sitting. So in true me fashion, we're gonna be doing the exact opposite of what's intended, putting myself through pain and torture for the sake of your guys' entertainment to see if collecting every single trophy in Destiny 2 is possible in one stream. So grab some popcorn and get comfortable with me on this hair-pulling journey as I lose my mind for the sake of pixels popping up on my screen. I hope you enjoy. I start off this challenge the way all of our challenges start. You know what's coming. With New Light. This is Bungie's attempt at introducing new players to the world of Destiny that at this point, we're pretty familiar with when it comes to our style of challenges. I named my Guardian Give Me Trophies, as I figured this would be a great name for the hero of our story, and because I have zero creativity. I was sure that I'd have to complete a ton of busy work before I could even think about obtaining any trophies. But before I could even finish the opening cutscene, this happened.
And we're off. And we are off, my friends. Oh, did we just get one? Did we just get level 20? I turned my head for 1 second. We got level 20. We got one, guys. We're already off.
Before I could even shoot my gun, to my surprise, we were given our first trophy of the challenge. You might be wondering how that's even possible. Well, to answer that, we need to talk about a familiar theme that's going to continue throughout this challenge. Trophies being changed to fit the more current day Destiny 2. The long and winding road trophy can be obtained by getting to level 20. However, as most of you know, in the current age of Destiny 2, you start the game at level 1600. Back in vanilla Destiny 2, your first 20 levels were gained by experience for completing activities and fighting against enemies across the solar system. Bungie has since ditched that model, and no, I'm not referring to the artifact for my newer players. Does anybody else miss the old style of leveling? Let me know. Anyways, since you no longer have to experience grind to get to the base XP level cap, you're handed this trophy automatically. 1 exotic down. Wait. Wrong challenge, my bad. 1 trophy down and 22 to go. Surely this meant that this challenge was going to be a walk in the park. Surely. For the 100th time, we fail to save Shahan's fire team, re-putting him through the same despair over and over and over again. That was a little dark. These trophies have caused me to lose my sanity, but you know what's helped me keep my sanity? Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN that keeps your online identity safe by encrypting all of your information sent between your device and the internet. I stream challenges like these where I'm already being violated by all these trophies, so the last thing that I need while I'm streaming and gaming is for my IP address, my personal data, and everything else to be stolen just because I'm not protected. On the internet, we're all at risk of having our data breached, and Surfshark is here to help us from being at risk while we're gaming. What about outside of gaming though? Have you ever tried to watch something but you couldn't because you weren't in a certain region? Well, you won't be missing out on anything, as you can change your virtual location to any of Surfshark's 3,200 servers in 100 different countries, meaning that you can access things like Netflix libraries in other countries. Make sure to click the link in the description and use my code cbgray to get an extra 3 months free of Surfshark. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's literally no risk of trying this out. Now with our data secured, let's get back to the trophies. After doing the first mission and some chores that require us to kill enemies across the EDZ, we're given Maeve's Key. That gives us access to one of the most crucial exotics of this challenge, the Tractor Cannon. This was a cool thing that Bungie added to give new players access to a really good support weapon until you can get better DPS weapons later in your journey. An even cooler thing about this weapon was that it got us a small step closer to completing one of our trophies called the Life Exotic. This trophy requires us to get 15 Red War exotics. With Tractor Cannon now being ours, we had our first Red War exotic and 14 more to go. Before I could even finish the next New Light mission, I set the world record for the fastest catalyst ever obtained in Destiny 2.
In general. Is that a cat? No, it's. Wait, what is that? Is that a catalyst? Did I get the tractor catalyst already? I'm gonna put it on for good luck. Is that tractor catalyst? I'm so good. Holy. Guys, that has to be a record. I don't think I've ever gotten tractor cannon catalyst that fast.
Less than 20 minutes in, and we already have our first catalyst. I highly doubt that this is actually a world record, but let's just pretend like it is so I can feel good about myself. I'll have plenty of things to bring me down soon enough. To my surprise, the good luck continued as I was going through the Cold Boot New Light mission. A Warsat public event spawned as I was on the way to the array. Normally this wouldn't mean much, but in this challenge, this meant we were going to be one step closer to our goal. We obtained the People's Hero Trophy, bringing us up to 2 trophies. This trophy unlocks when you complete your first heroic public event, which I totally didn't know how to make heroic beforehand since I'm totally a new player that's only been playing the game for the last 22 minutes. Anyways, I finished the rest of the mission, and as always, I take a moment to visit my soon-to-be corpse.
Guys, while you kill those things real quick, I'm gonna sit next to my corpse.
Things were going great so far, and I wanted to keep my foot on the gas. Unfortunately, Ikora put her foot on the brakes, telling me to refly into the tower as she soft-locked me for the 1,000th time when doing these challenges.
It's a little bit of everything. Guiding the Warlock orders in research and development, enemy reconnaissance, and
I just got
internal
soft
affairs.
lock.
And it's a sight to see in the Crucible.
That's so frustrating, man. It's so. I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I did nothing wrong. I went slow even.
A funny comment I get on these style of videos is always, hey, just fast travel when you're soft locked. Well, doing that isn't an option when you're doing your tower tours, so the only option is flying back to orbit and then reflying into the tower. With that out of the way, I finished the rest of the New Light campaign, which honestly wasn't too bad. Just a quick Navoda fight followed by getting to Guardian Rank 2, which allows us access to fly across the solar system freely. Next, I had my sights set on Zavala's Lieutenant Trophy. This trophy required me to acquire each Titan subclass. I was slightly curious if this requirement also included post-vanilla subclasses like Stasis and Strand, but I figured that most likely this would only mean unlocking the original Solar, Void, and Arc subclasses. To unlock these subclasses, Ikora gives you quests that require you to get kills with the damage type that pertains to the subclass that you're trying to unlock. In my Titan's case, this meant Void and Solar. We would see if we need the other subclasses very soon. I go to the place where every Guardian goes to get all of their chores done in the game. A place that all roads lead to regardless of what direction you're going in. Good old Shurochi. I go to the director to fly in, and to my surprise, this happens.
Activity. But it just doesn't change. Oh, we got it. We got something. Enter the Dreaming City.
I got the Heart of Awoken trophy, bringing us up to 3 trophies. This trophy just required you to enter the Dreaming City, which was now in my possession completely by accident. 3 trophies down in under an hour. Now is a really good time to explain something that you might have been wondering about. The Dreaming City was introduced in the Forsaken expansion. While you can access the Dreaming City without Forsaken, it brings up an important question. Can you get all of the Destiny 2 trophies without any of the Destiny 2 DLCs? The answer to that question is no. Bungie added more trophies to the game when Forsaken launched. With those additions, platinuming the game became not possible without purchasing Forsaken, and we're going to talk more about some of these Forsaken trophies later. For now, just know that when this challenge started, I bought Forsaken and the Lightfall Deluxe Edition. These are the only 2 expansions I bought during this challenge, and I'll explain why I bought Lightfall and why I didn't purchase any of the other DLCs later. Also, I didn't mention it, but because of this purchase, I was able to pick up some goodies like the Quicksilver Storm and the Argent Turbo Sparrow earlier in the challenge. With all that out the way, I got to grinding to unlock my 2 remaining subclasses. I threw on my Tractor Cannon as well as a Void Fusion Rifle, and before I knew it, the Void kills were done. After this, I headed back to the tower to claim my Void subclass. Prior to doing this, I thought it was time to pick up my 4th trophy. Before I tell you what the trophy is though, let me just tell you what day it was. February 5th, 2024. This was very important for 2 reasons, but for now let's just talk about the first reason. This was because a certain someone spawns in Destiny 2 every Friday to Tuesday to bring us goodies like Santa Claus on Christmas. Xur, the Agent of the Nine. And speaking of the 9, which I still wish we knew more about, the next trophy I had my sights set on was the Lest Be Judged. This required us encountering an Agent of the Nine somewhere in the solar system. Well, lucky for us, because it was Monday, that Agent of the Nine was in the game waiting for us. That somewhere in the solar system happened to be in the tower. I head to the tower hangar and tell Xur that he has something that belongs to me. Right on cue, he gives me the Lest Be Judged trophy, bringing us up to 4 trophies. After this, I claimed my Void subclass for my Korra, and then it was back to Shuro-Chi to obtain my Solar subclass next. Once I get back to Shuro-Chi, I was slowly but surely getting the kills that I needed. Unfortunately, the Solar Fusion Rifle I had just wasn't getting the job done. I had the bright idea to go to collections and I bought the rest for the Wicked Sword for Bungie number 777 Glimmer. This ended up saving the day. I sorted at all the thralls until I had the required solar kills, and then it was back to Ikora to claim my solar subclass. After I claimed it, my worst nightmare was realized.
Wait. Come on.
Huh?
I didn't hear anything. 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 Oh no.
The trophy didn't pop up. Did this mean I was gonna have to unlock Strand and Stasis as well? Would Bungie really do this? Well, yes, but that wasn't the problem in this case.
Let me go read it. Hold on, let me read it. Acquire each Titan subclass. Maybe I just have to put them on. Maybe that's Copio. Here we go. Hold on. Arc is on. Void is on. Solar is on. Okay, alright. Oh my gosh.
It was just that I needed to put on each subclass. Crisis averted, and just like that, we had Zavala's Lieutenant trophy, bringing us up to 5 trophies off the list. Even though this was just a small hiccup, this would foreshadow a bigger issue with getting the game to register some of the trophies as they were being completed. After that little bit of craziness, it was time to start tackling some of the more fun and more difficult content. Just kidding, it was time for more New Light! This time it was on to my hunter to repeat the exact same process. I get to work on the first mission, and before I can even finish it, I come to a brutal realization.
Can somebody do me a favor too? I committed the ultimate sin again, guys. I started a challenge without knowing if there's downtime tomorrow. Is there downtime tomorrow? Does anybody know? I said I was gonna check and I forgot to. There is? No way. Is there actually? Player removal at 5:45 a.m. Pacific? Bro, that's 7:45 in the morning.
I once again started a challenge without checking to see if there was going to be downtime. A huge miscalculation on my part, as I would have had to start the challenge earlier in the day to give myself more time before the downtime. You may be wondering why I wouldn't just do this on a day that's not the day before the weekly reset, but I'll get to that explanation soon enough. Also, for those of you wondering why I did it on this week and not on a different week without maintenance, you'll soon realize that I had to do it on this week. I didn't have a choice. With this wrench in my plan, I decided that after completing the first New Light mission that I would abort my original plan. This meant that instead of unlocking my Hunter and Warlock subclasses next, I would instead pivot back to my Titan. The first mission would allow my Hunter and Warlock to move across the solar system, and then I could always go back and finish the rest of New Light later to gain access to the subclass quests. After finishing the first mission on my Hunter, I quickly repeated the process on my Warlock. Now I was back on my Titan, and I was feeling a lot more pressure, and that might not make a lot of sense without an explanation, so let me give a quick one. Let's talk about why I started the challenge when I did. I started this challenge on a Monday so I could take advantage of 2 resets worth of pinnacles, exotics, and challenges. Each thing I mentioned is crucial for a given trophy, so let me break this down further. I needed as many pinnacles as possible as I knew the prestige trophy was going to be a brutal grind. You may be wondering what the prestige trophy is. Well, it's completing the Leviathan raid or a Nightfall on prestige difficulty. Just kidding, Bungie removed the Nightfall components. This means this can only be completed by doing a prestige Leviathan raid. Easy enough? Let me just knock that out. I kid. As of Beyond Light, Bungie changed the prestige trophy to require the player to complete a Grandmaster Nightfall. This is because Leviathan was removed from the game, so naturally this trophy was impossible to get. No matter, a Grandmaster shouldn't be too difficult. Unfortunately, I had a huge miscalculation though. The issue with needing to do a Grandmaster Nightfall was that it required me to be 1800 to do this. How was I going to get my power level so high so fast? My mental goal was to hopefully complete this challenge in under 48 hours, and the only way to make that possible was going to be to take advantage of the pinnacle rewards across 2 resets. For those of you that might not know, every Tuesday at 12 PM Eastern or 1 PM Eastern depending on the time of year that you're watching this video, the pinnacle loot you can obtain to raise your power resets where you can obtain these drops again. Regardless, this grind was going to be brutal. This was the first reason why I was feeling a ton of pressure. The second reason was because of the 3 exotics that you can earn on each character as a pinnacle reward for doing 9 ritual activities, aka Gambit, Strikes, and Crucible. These exotics would be crucial as 3 trophies required getting a certain amount of Red War or Forsaken exotics. This meant that if I could earn these 9 exotics before the weekly reset, I could repeat this process and get a total of 18 easy exotics in under 24 hours. The final reason was challenges, and this one was a bit fuzzy for me as you would see later. The challenge accepted trophy requires 30 challenges. Back in 2017, this pertained to things like flashpoints and heroic adventures and things of that nature. To my OG players, does anybody remember flashpoints and adventures? I just got a ton of nostalgia hearing those activity names. Now, according to most Reddit posts, people generally seem to believe that this is now any challenge on the director that has a gold circle, such as completing bounties for Zavala or doing your ritual pinnacles. However, a lot of people were making posts that despite doing 30 or sometimes even more than 30 challenges, that this trophy was not registering. This made me extremely scared, and I knew that I was going to need to get as many challenges done before the reset as possible, so that after the reset I had enough challenges where this could even be possible. If I didn't get enough of these before the reset, this challenge was going to be officially over before it even started. All of these factors, as well as many other factors that we would discuss later, were causing me a ton of major stress, so I knew we had to get going and fast. I get going on the heroic campaign from Lightfall. I had to start here for a number of reasons. The heroic campaign, if finished, brings you up to 1770 automatically, which would be huge for us when trying to get to 1800 in a single day. Also, you don't have access to any pinnacle rewards or challenges until you get to the soft cap of 1750 for those of you that don't know that. This meant that I needed to speed run through the heroic campaign as fast as I could to get the ball rolling. I get started on the first mission and get it finished as quickly as I can. After this, something very important spawns that's going to be extremely important during this challenge. Vex Incursions. For those of you that don't know, Bungie added a special public event on Neomuna that can spawn randomly throughout the day. These public events spawn 6 giant Vex Minotaurs, and when defeated, you get an exotic armor piece that you don't have depending on certain conditions. After collecting every single exotic in the game for free in one stream, I learned something about Vex Incursions that was pretty mind-blowing. The bad luck protection in Vex Incursions is behind a paywall, so if you're free to play, you're going to be receiving duplicates at nausea. Trust me. Lucky for us, we have Forsaken and Lightfall, so this shouldn't be a problem. The big reason that I mentioned earlier that I wouldn't be buying any other DLCs was because of these Vex incursions. I wanted to keep my loot pool as small as possible so that the majority of my drops would either be Red War or Forsaken exotics. After finishing my first Vex incursion, here's what happened.
Not Lightfall, not Lightfall, not Lightfall. Yes, Red War.
We got the Actium War Rig, bringing us up to 2 Red War exotics off the list. Our plan seemed to be working smoothly so far. If anyone needs the Discord to notify you when a Vex incursion spawns, I'll link it below. Moving on, we get back to work as quickly as possible besides getting exhausted at every other step inside this campaign.
Oh, that's so... No! Wow. What a great time to be exhausted.
To make matters even worse, I get soft-locked in a spot that I've never even been soft-locked before.
No. No, I've never had this happen before. Are we? Really? I don't even know what we do here. It's not even respawn restricted, is it?
Bungie really needs to fix these. Anyways, we keep pressing forward and things start going more smoothly. After a tireless grind and crossing the 5-hour mark in the challenge, we finally get to the final mission where Callus will be waiting for us. Before I can even get to him, another Vex incursion spawns and we quickly leave the mission to get to the Vex incursion spawn spot. After completing it, we're awarded with the Aeon safes, bringing us up to 3 out of the 15 Red War exotics. After this, it's back to the final mission. We make it to Callus, and after losing the first fight once, we were able to defeat Callus, concluding the Lightfall heroic campaign. Once we finished this, it was off to the tower to complete a few chores, and then it was back to Nimbus to claim our prize. All of our 1770 gear getting us to the soft cap right at around the 6-hour mark of the challenge. This was a huge victory, but I knew I needed to keep up the pace if I wanted to ensure that this challenge would be possible. While we were at Nimbus, I picked up the Abiant Leap because why not? Now that we were at 1770, it was time to start knocking out as many challenges as we could. Before this though, I stopped by the EDZ to complete a heroic public event, getting us up to 2 of the 5 required for the In the Flash trophy. Funny enough, back in 2017, you would complete this trophy by completing a flashpoint on the EDZ, Nessus, IO, or on Titan for those that remember. With that flashback out of the way, I knocked out one more heroic public event, which not only brought us to 3 heroic public events, but it also helped us get closer to Guardian rank 3. Guardian ranks are usually super annoying in challenges like these, and this challenge was no exception. I'll explain why in a bit. For now, all that Guardian rank 3 meant was just knocking out some chores on the EDZ and Nessus, as we already knocked out all of our Neomuna chores. After all of this was finished, I headed back to the tower to the magical tree that deemed me worthy of the prestigious Guardian rank 3.
Okay. Alright, Guardian rank 3.
Getting to Guardian rank 3 meant that I now had access to the Triumphs page, because that makes sense, I guess. With that being said, I next headed back to our good friend Xur to pick up some more exotics, as I now had way more materials than I did prior to doing the Lightfall heroic campaign. I bought the Prometheus lens, bringing us up to 4 Red War exotics. I also purchased the Faded Engram, which ended up giving us the Prospector, getting us up to 5 Red War exotics. I held off on purchasing the Titan and Hunter armor exotics as I had depleted most of my shards and I wanted to pick these up later at a higher power level. Also, the Warlock exotic Fellwinter's Helm was a Shadowkeep exotic, so this had no use for us in the challenge. Funny enough, right after this, a Vex incursion spawned, speaking of exotics, which we hurried up to go complete. After beating the 6 Minotaurs, we were given our first Forsaken exotic of the challenge, the One-Eyed Mask. After this, I headed back to the tower quickly to grab as many bounties as I could from Banshee, Zavala, Shax, and the Drifter. This was so I could snag 4 easy weekly challenges by completing their bounties. I also went to go grab my Xenology quest from Xur. For those that don't know, Xur has a quest every week called the Xenology that allows you to get an exotic cipher when the quest is completed. It requires you to do 21 strikes, gambit matches, or crucible games that you have to win, by the way. You can luckily cut this in half if you do this with a clan, and thus, the CB Subathon clan was once again reborn to take advantage of this. With all of our bases covered, it was time to get started. We knock out 3 quick strikes, and not only am I rewarded with the exotic engram, but we also get our first weekly challenge, only 29 to go. I also knocked out Zavala's 8 bounties, which brought us up to 2 weekly challenges done. After this, I headed over to Raoul to give him the engram that we had just received, hoping that it would be a Red War or Forsaken exotic. Here's what I got.
3 hours, 15 minutes, but same deal. Stronghold.
We got the Strongholds, bringing us up to 2 Forsaken exotics. This didn't drop right when Forsaken launched, but it did drop during Season of the Drifter, which was during the Forsaken year, so I was pretty sure that this counted. I was still stressing over the looming downtime, but what could I do besides continue pushing forward? I knock out another easy strike in the Vanguard Ops playlist and make sure to leave commendations each time I finish one. This is because Hawthorne also has a weekly challenge that allows us to get pinnacle rewards for doing 5 commendations. Conveniently, we also finished knocking out the 8 Banshee bounties on this strike as well, which meant another weekly challenge was done, bringing us up to 4. I wanted to keep the ritual grind going, but I realized that I made a fatal error, which is a common occurrence when rushing. I forgot to unlock my artifact from doing the first seasonal mission. This meant that I was throwing XP gains out the window that could have been going towards getting my level higher, which would be crucial for getting into Grandmasters. I dove into the mission and I tried to finish it as quickly as possible. After frantically pushing through this, Mara gave me what I was after. After this, it was time for Gambit! There was 3 reasons for this. 1, it was a ritual activity, so that meant that we could get 2 more ritual exotic challenges from this. 2, we could get an additional challenge for completing Drifter's bounties. And 3, and most importantly by the way, it had a trophy tied to it for winning a Gambit match. We speedrun through the first match as fast as we can, and lucky for us, we weren't met with too much resistance. We won the match pretty easily, and it granted us the high stakes play trophy as well as a shiny Gambit memento to add a cherry on top. 6 trophies down. This would be our last trophy for a little bit of time. With that being said, I quickly jumped right back into the next Gambit game. We finished the game as quickly as we could, giving us our next exotic engram and completing our 5th challenge. I head back to the tower to open up the exotic, and I'm given the Thunderlord, an exotic that came out during the Festival of the Lost and Forsaken, which meant we now had 3 Forsaken exotics. After this, I grabbed more bounties and I headed back into Gambit. I finished my 8 Drifter bounty challenge during this game, which meant that we were now at 6 challenges completed. So far, we were moving at a pretty decent pace. I wanted to move into Crucible next, but unfortunately no one in the world was playing Crucible, so I couldn't find a match, which meant it was back into Gambit. After 2 quick matches, I was awarded with my final exotic for my Titan and my 7th challenge done. I head back to the tower to open up my engram, and I'm given the sweet business, getting us up to 6 Red War exotics. Speaking of Red War exotics, now that we had finished the majority of what I needed to do before reset on my Titan, it was time to head back to Xur to pick up a few more Red War exotics. First was the Hallowfire Heart, bringing us up to 7 Red War exotics, and then we also got the Raiden Flux, getting us past the halfway point at 8 Red War exotics obtained. We were also up to 1783 at this point in 9 hours, which all things considered wasn't too bad. It was time to move over to my Hunter to keep the momentum going. Exotics and challenges were the most important thing to us, so we needed to keep our foot on the gas. Funny enough, despite me transferring over my weapons as well as my Raiden Flux for my Hunter, he wasn't even close to the soft cap, which meant we couldn't do any of these things. I decided to do the Lightfall Heroic Campaign first mission to get blues that we need to get up to 1750. After this, my Hunter activities ended up following a very similar cadence to my Titan. I knocked out a total of 6 weekly challenges on my Hunter. 3 of these were from knocking out my 9 strikes to get the 3 exotic engrams, 2 of these were from knocking out my bounties for Zavala and Banshee respectively, and the last one was for doing Hawthorne's commendations. This brought us up to 13 weekly challenges done in just about 13 hours coincidentally. The 3 exotic engrams I got during this period of time was the Colony, our 9th Red War exotic, the Coldheart bringing us up to 10 Red War exotics, and the Darcy bringing us up to 11 Red War exotics as we crossed the 2/3 point. On top of this, after we got our first Hunter exotic engram, a Vex Incursion spawned and we were able to pick up the Dragon Shadow, bringing us up to 12 Red War exotics. Also, I've created so many new accounts during challenges like these that I can pretty much call exactly what's going to happen these days and also exactly what I'm going to get.
Bring out the other side, Sparrow.
Good work done. What intel did you discover?
There's an almost unreadable data artifact here labeled
There's no way I called that.
It's heavily corrupted.
There's no way that I called that.
M-Sund 12 from the
I
Axis
play this game too much in these challenges.
After this, the game convinced me that I needed to do Witch Queen to do strikes, which was starting to waste a ton of time. Because of the time crunch, I unfortunately was having to leave out the Shaxx bounty weekly on my hunter as well as the Drifter weekly as well. Time was running out fast before the server downtime. I was getting more and more nervous that I might not have enough challenges after the reset in the case that the trophies didn't work correctly like the online posts were describing. I couldn't focus on this right now though, there just wasn't enough time. It was on to my Warlock, who once again wasn't strong enough to jump directly into the weekly challenges. This meant that we were back to doing the opening mission of Lightfall until he was strong enough to do his weekly challenges. This would give us access to our pinnacles and exotics again. Also, the experience I was gaining was paying off as I unlocked my level 25 exotic from the season pass.
These exotics were guaranteed to either be Red War or Forsaken exotics, so these were going to be huge for us.
Once I finished the first Lightfall Heroic campaign mission, it was off to the tower to have Raoul present us with our next exotic. Here's what we got.
And Skull of Daramkara.
Bringing us up to 13 Red War exotics. We were getting so close. After this, the clock was ticking and we were running out of time fast.
How long till maintenance? An hour and 10 minutes, not long. We are pretty much out of time, I gotta be honest.
I dive right into the strikes as fast as I can, trying to knock out as many of Zavala's and Banshee's bounties as I could in the process. I get to my third strike making as best time as I can. Nothing could slow us down in my mind until something came and slowed us down. A Vex incursion spawned, and unfortunately I had to leave the strike towards the end to take advantage of a free exotic drop. I prayed to the RNG gods that this would not be a Lightfall exotic, as I was already wasting a ton of time doing this. We beat the event as fast as we can and I rolled the dice.
Claws of Ahamkara, Warmind.
Thankfully, we were awarded with the Claws of Ahamkara, our second Ahamkara exotic in a row, bringing us up to 14 Red War exotics. The Life Exotic trophy was right there for the taking. I knew I just needed to keep the ball rolling. I get back into the strike playlist and luckily the RNG strike gods give me the Lake of Shadows instead of Battlegrounds. I don't love the payload or the meatball to be honest, but this strike was really good for farming bounties inside of it. During this strike, I was able to finish my Zavala bounty challenge, bringing us up to 14 challenges completed. The challenges kept rolling in as I finished Banshee's bounty challenge within the same strike. 15 challenges completed. We were officially at the halfway point, which made me really happy. I knew in my brain we needed to at least get to the halfway point before the weekly reset to ensure that getting the 30 weekly challenges was possible. I was still completely terrified that the challenge would bug out on us and I wouldn't be able to finish the challenge. I couldn't worry about this right now though. After this, I powered through the rest of the strike and I was given our first ritual exotic on my Warlock. Conveniently, this also meant that we got another challenge done. 16 challenges crossed off the list. We knock out 2 more strikes and I finish my Commendations weekly challenge from Hawthorne that brings us up to 17 challenges done. We speedrun through 1 more strike after this and get our second ritual exotic on my Warlock, and we get to increase our challenges to 18 as an added bonus. Unfortunately, after this, we were out of time. So officially, we had gotten to 18 challenges before the weekly reset. Before the downtime hit, all we had time left to do was claim our exotics that we had and wait to get kicked from the game. We head back to the tower and speed over to Raoul to bring him our engrams. If he would just bless us with a Red War exotic, we would have our next trophy. I was also a little nervous. I let some thoughts creep in that the Red War exotic trophy would not count Curse of Osiris exotics like Prometheus Lens or Warmind exotics. There was no time for worrying at this point though. All we could do was roll the dice and see what exotic we got. Here's what happened.
1. There it is.
The Heartlight dropped, bringing us up to 15 exotics and giving us the Life Exotic trophy. We were now up to 7 trophies in under 14 hours. We were averaging roughly a trophy a little less than every 2 hours, which I thought was pretty good. Anyways, back to our Warlock exotic engrams. Would our next exotic drop a Forsaken exotic to be the icing on the cake? Let's see.
And then let's switch characters here. Merciless, that's also Red War. We're getting a lot of Red War weapons. Holy cow.
Unfortunately, it seems the game only wants to give us Red War exotics. No matter, I was still just really happy to have gotten my Red War exotics trophy done and out of the way. After this, I swapped back to my hunter to make sure I didn't miss anything, and funny enough, I had the Thunderlord Catalyst waiting in my Postmaster. I still have no clue where I got this from. I swapped back to my Titan after I was 100% sure that I had claimed everything on my hunter and my Warlock respectively. There was one final thing I wanted to do before we were kicked out for maintenance, and that was claiming my 3 Forsaken ciphers. For those of you that might not know, Bungie gives every player that purchases Forsaken 3 Forsaken ciphers that you can use to purchase any 3 Forsaken exotics from the kiosk. This would be huge for the challenge since, as you all know, we needed to collect 10 Forsaken exotics as well as 15 Forsaken exotics for 2 different trophies that we needed after this. I headed to the kiosk where I decided to purchase the Lumina, the Lemonarch, and the Izanagi's Burden, bringing us up to 6 Forsaken exotics. After this, I danced and waited for Bungie to kick me into the Shadow Realm, which happened right on cue.
There it is. Now I'm out.
Now that I was forced to take a break, it was time to eat dinner. At 8 AM. I had meant to eat dinner at night like a regular human, but once we were on a time crunch, I blinked and it was past 7 AM. You know what they say, time flies when you're in pain, or having fun, or something like that. We were past the 14-hour mark and at 7 trophies up to this point. So far things were going decently smoothly, but I had no idea the challenges that I would be facing soon enough. The 3 hours of downtime came and went and I was ready to get back into the challenge. I'd say I used these 3 hours as effectively as I could have.
I didn't even get a chance to shower and I didn't get a chance to change. All I did was I went and got so many breakfast tacos. How many? 7. I had 7.
Unfortunately, there was a queue to get back into the game, but once I was back, it was time to get back into it. I sat back a lot of times there. Honestly, having the weekly reset behind me was the biggest weight off my shoulders. Having to rush to get everything done before maintenance was making it hard to keep my composure. Now that I didn't have maintenance on the horizon, I could snag some of the trophies that I didn't have the time to go for. Also, it's important to note that I was already at 1785 in less than 24 hours. On top of this, I had a fresh set of powerfuls and pinnacles on all 3 characters to do now that the reset had hit. Now you're seeing why I chose to do this challenge exactly at the time frame that I did it. The first thing I decide to do is my remaining heroic public events. I head to the EDZ as there always seems to be a ton of public events going on here. I knock out our first public event, which was the Glimmer Extraction, getting us up to 4 heroic public events done. All that was left was 1 more to get my next trophy. Lucky for us, our final public event was a super easy one on the outskirts. It was the Ether Supply Servitor event that requires you to kill the smaller servitors to make it heroic. After we finished this event, the End the Flash trophy was mine, bringing us up to 8 trophies, officially 1/3 of the way done. I headed to the tower once this was completed to pick up all of my bounties again, as well as picking up the Wishender quest from the Tower Quest kiosk. This is a little different than how this quest used to kick off for those that remember. Once we had these, it was time to jump back into the Battlegrounds playlist, the Vanguard Ops playlist, to continue on with our challenges. Day 1000 of me asking Bungie to remove the Battlegrounds from Vanguard Ops. I ran through 3 quick strikes and I was able to snag 2 more weekly challenges. The first being our first ritual exotic engram on our Titan for completing 3 ritual activities. This got us up to 19 challenges. The second was getting our commendations done from Hawthorne, getting us up to the big 20 challenges and officially being 2/3 of the way done. If the game works right, of course. After this, it was back to the tower to see if our engram would be another Forsaken exotic that we were very much needing. Unfortunately, we ended up getting the dubious volley, the Wartcliff coil, which unfortunately we had no use for at this time. It was still a good pinnacle, which at least was good for power leveling. I finish another strike, and after I fly into the next, a Vex incursion spawns, so I hurry over to hopefully get another Forsaken exotic. Unfortunately, I get the Eternal Warrior to represent my eternal suffering. After this short delay, it was back to the next strike to keep the ball rolling. I run to change my clothes as I had been in the same clothes for 19 hours, and the second I did, this is what I came back to.
There's no way there's another Vex incursion, is there really? Sorry guys, I was changing shirts.
RNG was giving us a chance at redemption. We hurry over to Neomuna to hopefully get something we need this time around. Surely this would bear fruit.
Lightfall? Come on, man.
Unfortunately, we got the Arbor Warden, another Lightfall exotic. This was a major downside of purchasing Lightfall, but we really didn't have a choice but to purchase Lightfall because if we didn't, we would lose access to the heroic campaign and power leveling would be an absolute nightmare. After this, once again it was back into the strike playlist to make up for the lost time. While in the strike, I was able to get my Zavala bounties done, getting us up to 21 challenges completed. Keeping the ball rolling, I finished the Hypernet Current Strike, and then I completed an Arms Dealer Strike right after to pick up my second post-reset Ritual Exotic on my Titan. This brought us up to 22 challenges completed. I'll save you the suspense on whether or not I got a Forsaken Exotic next. I got the Worm Gods, which was a Red War Exotic. Unfortunate, but we proceed. We also hit 1790, which felt great less than 20 hours into the stream. Only 10 more levels to go to be able to get into Grandmasters. We knock out 2 more strikes as we were working towards our final Ritual Exotic, and we were able to finish the Banshee Bounties, getting us up to 23 weekly challenges. One thing that really sucked about this challenge is that Bungie had no in-game way of tracking this trophy, nor did the trophy give you any way of tracking your progress. This meant that I was stuck spreadsheeting each of the challenges that I was completing while I was doing them, which was super annoying. No matter, we were on track and surely nothing else was going to go wrong in this challenge. I speedrun through 2 more strikes to secure our final Ritual Exotic on my Titan. First the Moon Battlegrounds, which we sped run through, and then everyone's favorite strike, the Corrupted. After this, we were given our final Ritual Exotic for my Titan for the week, and we snagged our 24th challenge as well. Once this was done, we headed back to the tower as fast as I could to hopefully get another Forsaken Exotic. Would I get one? Here was my fate.
One Forsaken Exotic. Arbalest. That counts. That's Revelry.
We got the Arbalest, the original Revelry Exotic from the Forsaken year, bringing us up to 7 Forsaken Exotics. I was happy to get a Forsaken Exotic, but it was still super unfortunate that I could have literally earned this without wasting an engram. I just happened to completely forget about the quest. Oh well. It couldn't be helped. One thing that Arbalest made me want to go back and get was the Wrist Runner. I had the quest sitting, and the last thing I wanted to do was waste another engram just to get the Wrist Runner when I could have taken 5 minutes to complete it. After a few short minutes of jumping through the sewer system, the Wrist Runner was mine. Another Red War Exotic obtained that hopefully meant that the Forsaken Exotics were going to be in our very near future. We leave out of the sewers as quickly as possible, as it was time to take advantage of not only a very easy Forsaken Exotic, but also 3 very easy weekly challenges. It was time to knock out the Shattered Throne, as it was the pinnacle dungeon weekly rotator. This was starting to work out perfectly. That is, until I went to Petra to progress the Wishender quest, and she softlocked me because she knows it's my favorite to be softlocked. After having to make my way all the way back to her because she didn't have a fast travel spot anywhere near her, it was finally time to hop into Shattered Throne. To my confusion, while I was trying to kick off the Wishender quest, this happened.
Oh, I got Palace Galliot? For what? Wait, did they beat it? Wait, what just happened? Wait, what just happened? Wait, what just happened?
Apparently, my teammates didn't realize that I was going for the Wishender quest, and they steamrolled through the first part, and it gave me the Palace Galliot. This was a ship that used to be super rare, and I was super shocked to get this on my first encounter completion. This was wild. I remember how much grinding I had to do back in the day to get this to drop. Unfortunately, I was gonna have to restart the encounter since I didn't get to activate the statue, but at least I had the Palace Galliot. We'd run it back quickly, and this time I was able to activate the first statue and kill the Minotaur. We activated the rest of the statues and killed the other mini bosses along the way, and before you knew it, we were at the first boss, Vorgith. Once we were there, we made sure to kill the Minotaur and slam the orb, followed by killing the Ogre mini boss. After this, all that was left between me and Wishender was Vorgith. We took him down, and then the Wishender was mine.
Alright, Wishender, let's go. Let's go.
We now had 8 Forsaken Exotics, and things were looking up. We pushed through the rest of the dungeon until we made it to Duel and Karu. After we took her down, we were given one of the Forsaken secret trophies, Nothing Left to Say. For those that remember, this trophy was originally obtained by delivering the final killing blow to Uldren at the end of the campaign.
Do you know which side you're on?
Obviously, the Forsaken campaign is now in our favorite place known as the DCV, so because the campaign is no longer playable, They changed this to Shattered Throne. Since Shattered Throne was the weekly rotator pinnacle dungeon, this also meant that we completed another challenge, getting us up to 25. Only 5 more to go. Next, I had my sights set on 2 trophies that would go hand in hand, but before we discuss those, it's worth mentioning that I took a moment to finally grab the Dragon's Breath rocket launcher. This would be extremely helpful for the rest of the challenge. Banshee also had a pretty decent Cartesian that I decided to pick up as well. Now back to the next 2 trophies. Remember when I said I had waited over half a year to be able to do this challenge and that this challenge absolutely had to happen this week? Well, this next trophy was gonna be why. One of the Forsaken trophies on our list is called the Darkness Falls. Surely I'm exaggerating though. How hard could this trophy actually be? Well, let's just read it. Defeat a Forsaken Nightfall boss. Funny enough, I had this idea in the summer that I wanted to collect all of the Destiny 2 trophies in one stream. However, to my dismay, I needed a Forsaken Nightfall boss. No worries, surely that wouldn't be too detrimental. Let's look at the Forsaken strikes. Warden of Nothing. Oh, that hasn't been the Nightfall since the week before Lightfall launch when everybody was farming Wendigo. No worries. What about the Broodhold? Oh wait, that's gone. Hollow Lair? Yeah, that's in the DCV as well. The Corrupted was our only hope, and the last time it was the Nightfall was July 11th, 2023, and no Forsaken Nightfall had returned for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, I would have to wait 209 days to get a chance at completing this challenge. Side note, if you're a new player that wants to platinum this game and you happen to start playing when the Warden of Nothing and the Corrupted Strike just went out of the rotation, have fun waiting half a year. This is why I had no choice but to start this challenge right now. I needed the Corrupted. Now that the weekly reset had passed, the Tekken that we were after was waiting for us. To add icing to the cake, the Heart of Darkness trophy only required completing any Nightfall. This meant that we had a great opportunity to get some really good progress in on this challenge. We fly through a 1770 hero Nightfall, which at my current power wasn't really that bad. After over half a year of waiting, would the game act right and give us the trophy that we were waiting so patiently for? Let's find out.
There it is. Darkness Falls. Defeat a Forsaken Nightfall boss.
We got the Darkness Falls and the Heart of Darkness trophies, bringing us up to 11 trophies. As an added bonus, we got the original Horror's Least to drop, the one that was Sunset. Bungie has been reprising these in Grandmasters, so I honestly wouldn't be shocked to eventually see the Long Goodbye in Final Shape. Bonus points if you remember where the strike was from. Before moving on to anything else, it was time for a chance at another Forsaken exotic. It's important to note that all of these bounties as well as weekly seasonal challenges that I was doing was getting my XP up extremely fast. I made it to level 45 on the season pass, which meant that I had another exotic for the taking. After I get to Raoul, I say a quick prayer to the RNG gods, and here's what they gave me.
Forsaken.
The Black Talon drop, bringing us up to 9 Forsaken exotics. Only 1 more to go before another trophy was in our possession. This felt really good, but there was a huge issue that was looming that we were finally going to have to address. Something that was causing me even more stress than anything we had talked about up to this point. 2 trophies that could possibly be the end for this challenge. It's time to talk about seals, and it's time to talk about badges. Let's turn our attention to the Seal the Deal and the Fashion Statement trophies. The longer this challenge went on, the more scared I got about these 2 trophies. First, let's go over what the requirements are for these trophies. Complete a Triumph and complete a Collections badge. Both of these trophies already sound like quite the grind and already made me nervous about doing this challenge in one stream and if it really was possible. Most seals and badges can take weeks or even longer to complete and sometimes take multiple resets and loot rotations to make certain seals and badges possible. Luckily, with some careful planning, I devised a plan to obtain both of these trophies. I made sure that the week that we did the challenge not only aligned with the Corrupted Nightfall like we discussed earlier, but also with the Vault of Glass raid being the pinnacle rotating weekly raid. Vault of Glass being the rotator meant its legendary weapons and armor could be endlessly farmed. It meant that I had access to the master version, and lastly, it meant that I could endlessly farm for the fabled Vex Mythoclast. All of these factors combined meant that if I grinded really hard, I could get the seal and the badge for Vault of Glass within a day's time. This was the only way that I saw this challenge of collecting every trophy being possible. I thought I did a ton of research prior to this challenge starting, but I soon learned I absolutely didn't do a lot of research. More and more people started pouring into my stream to tell me that certain seals and badges didn't work for them when trying to do these trophies. Skeptical, I started to check online to see what other people were saying. Yeah, I didn't like what I saw. According to most people online, seals that weren't from the Forsaken DLC or earlier didn't count towards the trophy. This meant that the Vault of Glass seal wouldn't work. The bad news didn't stop here when I saw the exact same news about the Fashion Statement trophy that required a badge to be completed. Both of these apparently didn't work for anything past Forsaken. For the seal, maybe I could get Dredgen done if I sold my soul to Gambit, but for the badge, what would I do? The Dreaming City badge was out of the question as it required an emblem that needed every Ascendant challenge. Gambit's badge had 2 unobtainable weapons. No way could I get the Last Wish badge without it being farmable. And the Red War, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind badges respectfully all had way too many exotics to collect in only a few days' time without some major luck, and even then, we'd still come up short. We got a major stroke of good luck though when my community sent me this article.
As of 2024, this trophy can be obtained by completing any seal, including the seasonal ones. Triumph seals are rewarded for completing a specific triumph. They also allow you to earn titles in the game that will show up above a character.
I was still kind of skeptical as this wasn't a post from Bungie, but after doing a bit more digging, we were able to find this article.
Seal a Deal platform achievement now completes with seals after Forsaken. Please also count the... Please! Please!
This was massive, and it had just been updated November 28th, 2023, only 2 months earlier to when we had started this challenge. I still had no one that could confirm that this fix actually worked, so I was still a bit nervous if the Vogue seal would really work, but at least this was comforting. Unfortunately, there was absolutely nothing on the internet about the Fashion Statement badge being fixed. If somehow, in some way, Bungie fixed the Seal the Deal trophy and didn't fix the Fashion Statement trophy, the challenge was going to be over. Was there a chance that Bungie just left out that they also fixed the Fashion Statement trophy? Definitely. But was there also an even greater chance that Bungie just fixed one of the trophies without fixing the other? I'd say that that's also a definitely. I didn't know what to think. The only thing we could do was jump in the Vault of Glass and collect the badge and the seal, and just roll the dice and see what happens. I dive into the Vault of Glass and start working on our Fatebreaker title as well as our badge. Just kidding, we get to do my favorite thing in the game. Good old Guardian ranks. Who decided that titles should be locked behind Guardian ranks? To get to Guardian rank 4, unfortunately I had to go to the Cosmodrome and complete the Learning Light, my favorite mission that totally sells our new players on how fun the game is. We pushed through the mission and before we knew it, we had finished it. All that was left was putting a mod on my ghost and purchasing a fragment for my Korra. After this, it was back to our favorite tree to finally be able to access our titles. Here's what happened.
Please?
Well, I guess it's on to grinding to Guardian rank 5. I start looking at the requirements and I get super confused.
Apply it. Oh, just apply, right? Just apply. That's all it says. Just apply. That should just be... Wait, I don't have it. Why don't I have it? I thought that I got it from finishing it.
I already had the Risk Runner and usually you would just get the Catalyst automatically. For the first time ever in the history of our challenges, we didn't have the Catalyst after doing the mission. Would the second time work? Let's find out.
There it is. Finally. This time it worked. Last time it was bugged. This time we got it. Sometimes it just takes a couple tries.
Yeah, the mission was totally bugged and it wasn't my own mistake or anything, and I totally didn't just leave out of the mission early. I totally left the mission too early the first time. All that mattered though was the Risk Runner Catalyst was now mine. I went ahead and applied it so that I could claim the triumph towards getting to Guardian rank 5. Next was completing the triumphs under the playlist tab of the Guardian rank requirements. Unfortunately, I learned that Guardian ranks doesn't count some of your progress retroactively. It was requiring me to do a bunch of things that I had already done before. Feels amazing. Just what I wanted to do. More ritual chores. On the bright side, a Vex incursion spawned right as this happened and we hurried back over to Neomuna. Would it be a Forsaken exotic? Let's see.
No. No.
Of course it was another Red War exotic. On the bright side, this was a good one and we'd be using it for the remainder of the challenge. After this, it was back to our ritual busy work to get our Guardian rank 5 requirements done, which mostly consisted of completing activities and bounties. Once completed, it was back to the magic tree to see if we could finally start working on our title.
I can play with people. Let's go.
Psych!
We couldn't, unfortunately. No matter, it was on to rank 6, and luckily, I had most of these already completed. I got scared as one of the requirements was trials, which I thought meant we might have to wait until Friday, which would mean the end of this challenge. Luckily, this was just talking to Saint 14. Unfortunately, just like the Curse of Osiris Saint 14, this Saint 14 in my timeline it passed on.
Where is he? Is he in the ground? What is going on? Please, game, just work with me. Why are you in the ground, Saint?
After a quick fast travel, we were able to talk to Saint 14 in a different multiverse, which gave us the requirement we needed. Luckily, the rest of my requirements to get to rank 6 mainly just revolved around upgrading my gear and putting mods on each armor slot. After this, it was back to our favorite tree to get to Guardian rank 6. If titles didn't pop up here, I was gonna lose my mind. Here's what happened.
I must answer the tree. It's calling me. Oh, man. 1. Oh. Beautiful.
Finally, we had access to the titles page. This felt amazing. It was time to jump into Vault of Glass as this challenge was going to be made or break on the next series of events. Before I could even jump into the raid though, another Vex incursion spawned and we made our way over to hopefully get my final Forsaken exotic. Unfortunately, RNG had other plans and gave me the Dune Marchers, an exotic I could have just gotten for my Korra if I had taken the time prior to knock out the quest. Oh well, there was no time to relish on it. It was finally time to jump in the Vault of Glass, and nothing else was going to get in my way. It's important to note that we were now officially past the 24-hour mark. One full day had officially come and gone, and I was right about at the halfway point of the challenge, if this was actually possible, of course. Enough about that though, let's get into the raid. I won't bore you with every Fatebreaker requirement up front, and instead I'll tell you the required triumphs that we are going to be doing as we are doing them. Just know that we are going to need to complete 23 triumphs in order to get this seal, just like the amount of trophies we need it coincidentally. It's important to note a few things about our class and subclass team dynamic before we get started. We're going to be doing an all Titan run, go Titans. And for the all clan run, I had everybody join the CB Subathon clan to kick things off, as this would give us 3 different triumphs when we beat Atheon. With that bit of knowledge, we loaded into Venus to kick things off. The first challenge we were going to need to complete was beating the Vault of Glass opening without letting any Vex take any of the plates. Should be easy enough.
I have Lightfall this time. Last time I had Witch Queen.
Wow, okay. I'm gonna
And I
get
had...
already.
Yeah, a Vex sacrificed before we could even get to the plates. We tried things again and we complete this challenge with little difficulty, giving us the break no plate triumph.
1 down and 22 to go.
Help me. Once the encounter was over, we shifted our attention to the Pearl of Glass triumph, which requires getting all 12 collectibles within the Vault of Glass. We pick up the first 2 collectibles before actually entering the vault. I forgot that I didn't have any loot in my loot pool yet, so I kind of unfortunately wasted the first chest when I opened it. This could have helped me progress the badge later, but oh well. After the chest, it was on to our 3rd collectible, which we didn't have to travel very far to get. Speaking of chests, we make a stop at the first secret chest, the fabled 7th chest back in Destiny 1, and we open it up. This is the first of 4 chests that we would need to get the Temporal Caches triumph. After this, we continue to push on, picking up our 4th collectible before we get to the Conflux encounter. With that done, it was time to start the Confluxes. Our task this time was the Dragon's Den triumph, which required killing wyverns with only super damage. Shouldn't be too bad.
Weaker. Right there's fine, right there's fine. I didn't kill him. I know I
had
didn't
an
kill him.
arena shot.
Let's swipe and restart.
Why do I keep opening up my mouth? We run through it a second time, and once again we beat the encounter on our 2nd attempt, getting us our 2nd triumph. It's also important to note that we got the Vision of Confluence. This is a good time for us to talk about badges and how they work in Destiny 2. To complete a badge, you normally need to collect all the weapons, armor, and cosmetics from a given activity, location, or DLC. In our case, for the Vault of Glass badge, we are required to get all of the armor for a given class, all of the legendary weapons, the raid exotic Vex Mythoclast, the Vault Strider ship that comes from beating Master Vault of Glass, the Bitter Pearl shader from getting all the collectibles, and the emblem from beating the raid. We would need to collect all of these before we could earn the badge or the Fatebreaker seal, as one of the triumphs to complete the Fatebreaker actually requires completing the badge. With that explanation out of the way, we now had one of the 6 Vault of Glass legendary weapons. Now back to the raid. It was time for the oracles, and this time for the take cover triumph, all we had to do was not kill the hobgoblins. Other than that, it was business as usual. This time I didn't jinx the run and we knocked it out on our first try. 3 triumphs done. Funny enough, I did almost ruin the run.
2, 3. CB.
God, should that go through the rock?
That did.
Yes, that did.
3, 2, 1, go.
That's fantastic.
That aside, our reward for this encounter was the Praetus Revenge, getting us our second of the 6 legendary weapons for the badge. Moving on, it was time to fight the Templar, and for this triumph known as the Tempered Teleport, we could never block the Templar's teleport. To do the Tempered Teleport, you can't let the Templar teleport. That's kind of a tongue twister, sorry. Aside. After a few goes at this triumph, we were able to get this done, getting us our 4th triumph. We also got a chest piece, giving us our first piece of armor for the badge. Next it was on to the Gorgons, but before that we had more collectibles to get. We pick up our first, going in the direction of the old school Destiny 1 secret chest, giving us our 5th collectible of 12. We traversed further down and we were able to pick up our 6th collectible as well. As we push onwards, we make it to the Gorgon's Labyrinth. After shooting the 2 oracles, we're able to unlock the door to the next secret chest room. With some careful navigation, we were able to snag our 3rd chest, only leaving 1 left for the next triumph. Next, it was time to do one more of the scary triumphs. The triumph known as 2 Fast, 2 Gorgons, requiring us to complete the Gorgon's Labyrinth while defeating 2 or more Gorgons within 3 seconds of each other. This admittedly took a decent amount of tries, but after banging our heads at it long enough, we were finally able to get it.
Ow. Wait, we could get those 2 right there if they die. It's like within 2. That was within 3 seconds. That's cheating. So if you, wait, we got it!
5 triumphs done already. Before we could leave the Gorgons, who were probably tired of us at this point, it was time to pick up 2 more quick collectibles. When going for the first one, I died just barely picking up the 7th collectible as I passed on to the afterlife. Then we were able to pick up the 8th collectible on the top of a rock. After this, we pressed on past the Gorgons, trying to make sure to be super sneaky and making sure not to be out in the open.
Wait. Feels so good. Beautiful.
Just kidding, we walked right past the Gorgons because Bungie has never gotten around to fixing this. After this oversight, we are on to the jumping puzzle. In this area, our 9th collectible was waiting for us and we were able to snag it after a few careful jumps. After a few more jumps, we were able to pick up our 10th collectible in the area as well. After this, we press on and grab the final secret chest, finishing the Temporal Cache's triumph. 6 triumphs done. Over 25% of the seal was done already. Before heading into Gatekeepers, we collected 1 more collectible. Collected 1 collectible. That probably wasn't one of the better lines I've wrote in this script. Sorry. Anyways, we picked this up, giving us 11 collectibles out of 12. I know what you may be thinking. That was the final collectible. Did you miscount? Nope. Unfortunately, we missed the 4th collectible, so we would have to come back for this later. Moving on, it was time for the Gatekeeper. This time we had our sights set on the Rabbit Relic Triumph. This required you to kill all the Praetorians with Relic Supers. The timing on this was super tough because you kinda have to stall and wait for the shield to come back to you each rotation. I crutched on Tractor pretty hard for this. We finally get a good run and we're nearing the end of the encounter when we have something wonky happen. We froze an enemy before killing it with the Relic Super. When the super hit, it caused the enemy to shatter. Would this count? We'll see.
Scottish, this one over here on by me is nice. Beautiful. Wait, did he die to something else?
I don't know.
Please. Game.
Nope.
No.
Oh my god, no. Well, no, I don't.
It's that one
Did you get
frozen
it?
shatter. It froze and shattered.
No, it
No, I
frozen shattered.
didn't get it.
Damn.
Sucks.
Okay.
Okay.
Nope, but honestly, it didn't really matter as we needed to come back to get the final collectible anyways. We were able to, at least as a consolation, get the Fatebringer, netting us our 3rd legendary weapon from the Vault of Glass. It was now finally time for Atheon. The final triumph that we would tackle is called the Eyes of Atheon. This required not destroying any supplicants, basically meaning stay off the ground for the whole encounter. This isn't very hard, it's just kinda goofy and slow. Instead of doing damage to Atheon by the portal, we would go back to the middle DPS strat from Destiny 1 to avoid accidentally killing any supplicants. With that strategy established, all that was left was killing Atheon. Here's what happened.
Bring it home and show us the triumph. And maybe a Vex Mythic class here. Oh, we got it. We did get it. We did get it, even with it exploding. Maybe show us a Vex Mythic class, maybe? Oh, I got Found Verdict too, that's good. Because I didn't have that. Oh, we got the Volta Clans one too, good. And we got the Charge class, good. Full arc. And we got the same class, good.
Not only did we get the Eyes on Atheon triumph, but we also got the Vault of Glass triumph for beating the raid, the Vault of Clans triumph for doing an all clanmate run, Charged Glass for doing an all arc subclass run, and Vault of Class which we got for doing a full run on one class. This shot us up to 11 triumphs completed out of 23 in just one run. This was insane progress. Speaking of progress, we got the Hezen's Vengeance and we got the Found Verdict, which meant now we only needed one more legendary weapon to complete the badge in terms of our weapons. The emblem was also now ours for beating the raid, which would also go towards the badge. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Vex Mythoclast, but we did make some major strides towards it, which we definitely are going to talk about. 4 of those 10 challenges that we did gave RNG boosts for Vex Mythoclast, which would be super nice later on. As an added bonus, this counted as a weekly challenge since it was the weekly rotator, which meant that we are now up to 26 challenges out of the 30 for the challenge accepted trophy. Next, we would be taking things up a notch. It was time to do the master version of Vault of Glass. Keep in mind, the recommended power for Vault of Glass is 1840, which is insane. I was at 1794, so this was gonna feel like the contest modifier was on, and then some added on to it. I geared up as best as I could, and then it was time to get going. To kick things off, we make sure that everyone's on a solar subclass so we can get another easy trophy. With some patience, we were able to open the Vault of Glass. I immediately felt the raise in difficulty. I didn't get any rewards on this because I stayed on my Titan, but that was okay. From here on out, we would be getting loot for everything. And speaking of loot, my final collectible that we had missed the first time was waiting for me by the secret chest hidden in a tree. With that collectible, the Pearl of Glass triumph was mine. 12 triumphs done. This also meant that I was able to claim the Diet Chatterwhite shader, which was one more thing to scratch off the list on our mission to complete the badge. Once we're at Confluxes, it was time to attempt the first challenge. Remember, on Master each challenge mode is active for the whole week and each challenge will give us a triumph that we need. This one being called Wait For It. This challenge requires us to only kill wyverns when they're in the process of sacrificing.
This gives you a very limited amount of time to kill them.
After a few attempts, we were able to get the challenge done and the Wait For It triumph was mine. 13 triumphs completed and we are now officially past the halfway point. For the loot, we got gauntlets which we needed for the badge as well as the Adept Vision of Confluence that I didn't really care too much about since we already had the original. Now it was time for the Oracles challenge, which is called the Only Oracle for You. Basically, you can't shoot the same Oracle twice in a row. The way you solve this is rotating clockwise to ensure everyone is always assigned a new Oracle. This challenge isn't really that bad, it's more so just coordination and also making sure not to get obliterated by the ads. After we get coordinated and get into our groove, we were able to complete this challenge no problem, and the Only Oracle for You triumph was mine, 14 done. We also got the boots which increased our progress on our badge, which made me really happy. We now only needed the helmet and the mark for a complete set of armor. Next it was on to the Templar. This challenge was reminiscent of Destiny 1 where this time we couldn't let the Templar teleport. This challenge was only tough in terms of actually getting enough damage before being killed for being marked since we weren't bothering with the oracles. After a ton of fails, we finally had our moment. With that, the Out of Its Way triumph was mine, bringing us up to 15 triumphs. Unfortunately, we got another chest piece as well as a Time Lost Fatebringer. Both of these we have in the badge, so we didn't get any progress, but I do like the Time Lost Fatebringers, that was nice. We traverse past the Gorgons and make it to the Gatekeeper encounter next. When we get here, a Vex Incursion spawns, but honestly, I was too scared to leave because I thought it might not count our all-solar run, so I decided to stay. In hindsight, I could have left, but it's okay. Getting back on track though, our next triumph for the taking was the Strangers in Time challenge. In my opinion, this one's probably the hardest and it requires killing the Wyvern and the Praetorian in a very small window, basically at the same time. This requires a ton of coordination and the ads hurt, which doesn't make things any easier. With my power being so low, I probably could have let somebody else handle this, but I didn't think that was any fun, so we dove right into this. We had quite a few fails attempting this, but after some patience and persistence, we were able to get our clear. The Strangers in Time triumph was ours, bringing us up to 16 triumphs. For our prize, we got the much needed helmet which we were after, as well as the Adept Hezen's Vengeance. We now only needed a Titan mark to complete our armor set for the badge. It was now time for the final challenge mode, Atheon. The challenge mode for this is called the Praetorian's Plunge. This requires you to push Atheon off the ledge. It's extremely precise to do. I'm totally kidding. The triumph is actually called the Ensemble's Refrain, and it requires the 3 teleported members to always shoot 1 oracle each. This wasn't too hard, more of just a coordination and timing thing, as well as making sure not to let the shield disappear whenever you drop it. After a decent few attempts, we finally got the run we were after and completed the challenge, giving us the Ensemble's Refrain triumph. On top of this, we got the Master Glasser for completing Master Vault of Glass, and we got the Maestro Glasser for completing all of the challenges in Vault of Glass on Master difficulty, bringing us up to 19 triumphs. We unfortunately didn't get the Melted Glass trophy because one of our teammates accidentally swapped from Solar, but this was something that we could finish later. For our loot, we got another helmet unfortunately, but we did get a Time Loss Corrective Measure. This would be huge if Adept Weapons counted for the badge, because I would be done. I went to go check my badge, and this is what happened.
My spoils for a decent found verdict.
Scottish didn't count. You called it.
I didn't think it would.
Very unfortunate. With no time to even be sad, another Vex incursion spawned, and I quickly made my way to Neomuna to pick up another free exotic. Would it be a Forsaken exotic?
Nah. How do I keep getting all these curses with Cyrus and other weapons or armor?
Of course not. Back to Vault of Glass, I went ahead and claimed all of my triumphs, and I was given the Vault Strider ship, which was another thing crossed off the list for the badge. We claimed the Time Loss Found verdict, which funny enough, I don't even have on my main account yet. For the badge, all we needed now was the Titan mark, the corrective measure, and the Vex Mythoclast, which in my opinion, with only doing 2 full runs, this was insane that we were already this far into it. This was going better than I ever could have imagined. I wanted to keep the momentum going, so we dove right back into the Vault of Glass. This time we made sure all of our subclasses were void for the Empty Glass Triumph. Luckily, we didn't have to do any more master raids from here on out. We start on the entrance and we knock it out as quickly as we can. After this, we make our way to the Confluxes. This Conflux encounter was going to be huge for us here. It can drop Found Verdict, Vision of Confluence, Corrective Measure, Gauntlets, and the class item. 2 of these drops I desperately needed, the Corrective Measure and the class item, so I had a 2 in 5 chance of being extremely happy here. And here's what happened.
Oh, I got corrective. Oh, I could cry, man. This game is so good. This game is good, man.
We got the corrective measure, meaning that now all we needed was a mark in the Vex Mythoclast. The mark couldn't drop in this encounter, so in terms of completing the badge, the only other thing that we could get in this current raid attempt to make progress on this was gonna be the fabled Vex Mythoclast. After this victory, we beat the Oracles and the Templar without any real problems. Once we were done, it was on to the Gorgon's Maze, and after that, we were back at Gatekeeper. This was gonna be redemption time. We still needed to do the challenge where we killed the Praetorians with only super energy. We killed every Praetorian with super energy, including the ones not in the portals, to be safe, and after we killed the final one, we awaited our fate.
Go. That's the only reason why I want to use Tractor. That's what I was doing inside every single time. We got it. Sweet!
Yeah,
everyone was on board, right?
To my satisfaction, we got the Rabbit Relic, bringing us up to 20 triumphs. It's also important to note that at this point we were past the 30-hour mark, which was insane. All that was left now was defeating Atheon. Before we go any further, I wanted to give a quick recap on my RNG boosts. I had done every possible Vex Mythoclast RNG booster when taking on this seal, so we were now up to 11 times RNG boost for the Vex Mythoclast. I'm not sure exactly what this means for our real number percentage, but I was hoping it would help. We start Atheon, and with no challenges that we have to worry about outside of having our subclass still be on Void, he goes down extremely easily. When he dies, we get the Empty Glass Triumph, bringing us up to 21 triumphs. We were so close. These runs have been going perfectly so far. The only thing that could have made this better was having Vex Mythoclast drop. Would it drop with 11 times RNG boost? Let's see.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh my
Somehow, in some way, we got the Vex Mythoclast to drop. This was wild. I couldn't believe this. Maybe this should be the strategy when I try my raid challenges. What an insane series of events. All that remained on my badge was the Titan mark, and all that remained on my seal was finishing the solar run as well as completing my badge. We had basically completed the whole title in 3 runs. There was no time to slow down though, as the ball was rolling and I wasn't gonna let it stop. We saved an Atheon checkpoint, so it was right back to Atheon to beat him one final time. After a few short minutes and making sure that all of our subclasses were solar, he was defeated and the Melted Glass triumph was mine. 22 triumphs done. All that was left between me and my seal and badge was one class item. The closer I got, the more nervous I got, and the more pressure I started to feel. This was going perfectly, but honestly, too perfect. And as I mentioned earlier, Bungie made no mention on fixing the badge trophy. All of this effort could literally be meaningless, but I had to try to keep these thoughts out of my brain. We would soon know the truth. For now, it was time to jump back into the raid. This time, our focus was going to be on the Conflux encounter. It was the only place that we could get a class item, so this was going to be our home until it dropped. We had a 20% chance. It was time to see our fate. Just kidding. Another Vex incursion spawned, so it was off to Neomuna to see if we'd finally get our Forsaken exotic. Here's what we got.
Ursa. It's Peacekeepers.
Red War exotic after Red War exotic after Red War exotic after Red War exotic after, oh my god! Unfortunate, but it couldn't be helped. It was time to go back into the raid, and we had unfinished business. We dived back in and we beat the Conflux encounter as fast as we could. Here was our drop.
I got a class item, does that
I
count?
got Found Verdict.
Oh no.
A swing and a miss, but no matter. Surely our second attempt would bear fruit. It ended up bearing another Vex incursion. This was comedy at this point. These Vex incursions were really trying to build the suspense. We knock out another Red War incursion, I mean Vex incursion. And here was our fate.
Ace Wards. Mask of the Quiet One. Another Red War exotic.
Honestly, this was a bit disappointing, but really my main focus was on the badge and the seal, so I really didn't care too much at this point in time. It was now time to go back into the raid to know if this challenge was actually going to be possible. I'll give you a quick moment to guess what happened on our next run. Did I A, get the class item, B, not get the class item, or C, get a third Vex incursion before I could make an attempt? Let's see.
I don't understand what's happening right now.
Don't question it, just accept it.
This was actually mind-boggling. When I need Vex incursions, they never spawn. When I don't need them, they won't leave me alone. If this could just give us a Forsaken exotic, we'd at least have the Forsaken exotic trophy done. I already knew though that this was going to be a Red War exotic, so I wasn't even holding my breath.
Or Mario's got it. I'll go back.
I got Pyrogames.
Oh, hey, that's a good one though.
Good exotic,
aw.
yeah, definitely a good exotic, but light.
Welp, I guess it wasn't a Red War exotic at least. The game's just toying with me at this point. Now, if no other Vex incursions want to interrupt, can we please see our fate? We jump back into the Conflux encounter, and we beat it before another Vex incursion can have a say in the matter. Will we finally get our class item? Let's find out.
Yes, it is it. It's it. We did it. We did it.
We got it. We finally got it, and with that, the badge was completed and our seal was completed as we had our final triumph, the Raid Vault of Glass, which required completing everything that this had to offer. But the trophy didn't pop up. No matter, we probably just needed to claim the final triumph and put on the title. Funny enough, I've never put on a title before, so I didn't even know how to. I navigated to the seal and I claimed the final triumph, and here's what happened.
And then once you collect like everything there, it should show it at the little bottom, like the title.
I have Fate Breaker.
Put it on.
How do did I just do this? Put it on? Is this what it is? I need to see a trophy come up soon. I'm starting to internally implode.
Nope.
So nothing.
Now I was extremely worried, but maybe the badge just hadn't completed yet, and maybe there was something I needed to claim within the badge to actually activate this.
Does the thing? Does it
It's
actually
even
have
colored.
to be?
It's
One of them is your badge.
No, he has the seal. He did it.
Oh, that's done too then.
This was bad. Very, 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 very bad. Maybe I just needed to put the title on my guardian, but at this point, I felt like I was majorly coping. I had no other options though. I was desperate. Here's what happened.
Yeah, all the copian. Do
Alright.
it. Put the title on.
What do? I just do equipped?
Yeah, and it'll have it on. Okay, I see it on your screen now, or like on your character.
Nope.
Alright, I'm gonna log out, log back in. I'm gonna log out, log back in. Maybe it just needs to register.
It seemed like this challenge was unfortunately over, which was going to be extremely heartbreaking. We had came so far just to fail. Nothing happened. I didn't get either trophy. Not for the seal or the badge. Even when Bungie said they fixed the Seal the Deal trophy. All that I could think to do was turn off the power button and turn it back on, aka go to orbit and then try to log out of the game and log back in. If this didn't work, the challenge was going to be officially over. Here's what happened.
It's keeping my sanity.
Not even that bad though.
Finding a game in Gambit is the hard part.
There's no way. Oh, wait!
So what, did it work? Did it work? Wait. It didn't work. I don't know.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like
yeah.
that sounds like relief of no Gambit.
I couldn't believe it. We got the Seal the Deal and the Fashion Statement trophy, bringing us up to 13 trophies. Bungie had fixed both of the trophies. It was official and confirmed right in front of our very eyes that you can do any seal and any badge to complete these trophies, despite Bungie only mentioning that they fixed the Seal the Deal badge. This felt so good, and I can't even begin to describe the relief that I felt here. It took 8 hours, 19 minutes, and 11 seconds to complete the Fatebreaker seal and the Vault of Glass badge. All things considered, I think this was pretty good. Now that this was done, nothing could stop me. It was time to finish this challenge. After some celebration, it was time to get back on the grind. I headed back to the tower as I had another trophy for the taking. I had my exotic cipher from completing my Xenology quest from Xur before the reset from doing all the ritual activities. This meant that I could pull another exotic from the Monument kiosk. I had 9 Forsaken exotics already, so it was finally time to finish my Exotique trophy. I headed back to the kiosk, and here's what happened.
This should be for 10.
Huh? I headed to orbit to see if the trophy would pop up like the last trophies did, to no avail. After not having any luck going to orbit, I decided to go back to the trophies page to reread the requirements for the Exotique trophy. But something extremely weird happened when I went to go reread the requirements. Have a look at this.
Wait. I thought we were trying to complete the 10 one. How do I have collect 10 Forsaken exotic weapons or armor? This is a mistake. This isn't actually that. This is from before. Exotic Journeys Red War. I think it's just wrong. No, the Life of Exotic is... Wait, what? An Exotic Journey is... Wait, when did this pop up? Unlocked February 6th at 1:35 p.m. What are we doing then? I would have to look. That was 2 hours after reset. 2.5 hours. Collect 15 Forsaken weapons or pieces of armor?
What in the world was happening? Somehow I didn't have the Exotique trophy that required 10 Forsaken weapons and armor, but I had the An Exotic Journey trophy that required 15 Forsaken weapons and armor pieces? What sense did this even make at this point? All of my joy instantly turned into confusion. We started doing some digging, which is made easier due to the fact that each time you get a trophy, it gives you a timestamp to match, which is convenient. We found the timestamp and watched carefully to see what happens. Take a look at this.
Alright, Wishender, let's go. Would you look at that? Collect 15 Forsaken exotic weapons or pieces of armor. How is that even possible? There's no way I collected 15 exotics at Wishender. There's just There's no shot that that was the case. So I'm trying to finally 100% and start it with the Forsaken DLC trophies. Currently doing all those things needed the Dredgen Titles Triumph Seal and got Malfeasance today. Issue is then the trophy and exotic journey for getting 15 exotics, pieces of weapons and armor popped up, but I still did not get the exotic for getting 10 pieces. Bug or am I missing it? Exotic journey is complete in exotic quest, which Malfeasance would count as. No way.
There you had it. The An Exotic Journey trophy didn't require 15 Forsaken weapons and armor. It just required one Forsaken exotic quest to be completed, meaning weapons like Wishender or Malfeasance. Just like that, we had 14 trophies crossed off the list without even realizing it. We now had single-digit trophies remaining. Side note, I did a quick test after the challenge to see that if I pulled Ace of Spades from the exotic kiosk, if that would count as a quest, since technically it was a Forsaken quest before it was put in the kiosk, but it didn't work, so I just wanted to let you guys know that. With the Exotic Journey trophy in hand, I would have loved to have been able to celebrate right now, but there was an even bigger mystery that needed to be solved. We now understood why we had the An Exotic Journey trophy, but why didn't we get the Exotique trophy when we got our 10th Forsaken exotic? It didn't make sense. After even more investigating, we came across this Reddit post.
I've recently purchased the Forsaken pack and I'm trying to clean up my trophies. I've been missing, I've unlocked the trophy for getting 15 but not 10. Is there a workaround? For exotic trophy achievement, you have to collect 10 Forsaken weapons or armor, not just any exotics. Wait, I'm confused. Yeah, and I did that. I've even unlocked the trophy for getting 15, but not for getting 10. Are you sure you've unlocked exotics from the Forsaken DLC? The trophy for 15 is for Red Warrior 1, Gear 1. The ones that qualify. Black Talon, Cerberus +1, Lord of Wolves, Malfeasance, 1000 Voices, Chaperone, Queenbreaker, Trinity Ghoul, Two-Tailed Fox, Wishender, Wave Splitter. I think it is that, guys. He didn't count any of those, which means I wasted 4 ciphers. The gift that just keeps giving, doesn't it, guys?
If you didn't follow what just happened, let me break it down for you. The Exotique trophy doesn't count Season of the Forge exotics. It doesn't count Season of the Drifter exotics. It doesn't count Season of Opulence exotics. It doesn't count the Revelry. It doesn't count Festival of the Lost. The only thing that it counts is the exotics that came with Forsaken in launch that have the F logo on them. With that being said, I took a look to see where our progress with the trophy really was, and yeah, it didn't look good.
So then, Gear, One-Eyed Mask, Ursa, yeah, literally only the launch stuff. That's insane, man, that's insane. So literally then all we have is 1, not Thunderlord. Alright, Wishender would be 2. Black Talon would be 3. That's 1. We're actually so much further behind than I thought on that.
This was soul crushing. The whole time I thought I was almost done with the trophy, and in reality, I wasn't even a third of the way done. Just like that, we went from 10 Forsaken exotics down to a measly 3. Bungie, please update the descriptions to these trophies, I beg! This whole time, I had a trump card that I planned on using in order to get the 15 exotics that I originally thought I was gonna need. However, now I was gonna be using it just to secure my 4th Forsaken exotic. Have a look at this.
The only other exotic that benefits us? Ace of Spades. So what we're gonna do is go to my stash. I had this as a trump card the whole time. And if I would have known, I would have used it on Xur. Because I would have been able to get an extra exotic from him. But I saved it for the kiosk because I thought I needed it. This is actually insane what you guys are about to see here. And this is not a glitch. It's giving me for each of the seasons, and we're at the last season. This isn't even a glitch. This was my trump card. So here we go, number 4. Ace of Spades is an exotic. That does count. So that's number 4.
We got the Ace of Spades, bringing us up to 4 out of the 10 Forsaken exotics. Not even halfway done, unfortunately. Before moving on to our next activity, I took a stop by my postmaster and realized we got the Darcy Catalyst, funny enough.
Darcy Catalyst? I don't know when we would have got it, but we got that too. So that happened.
With all of the grinding we had done up to this point, my Titan was now at 1796. We were so close to the big 1800, which would mean that we could do Grandmaster soon enough in less than 36 hours of grinding, which was not that bad considering everything else that we had been doing, like the seal and the badge. I decided that the next activity we would do would be Crota. I figured not only would this push us over the edge to 1800, but it would also mean another weekly challenge done. We get started and push through things as fast as we can. Before I can even finish the lamps, a Vex incursion spawns and it's on to Neomuna to hopefully get another Forsaken exotic. Would luck finally turn around and be on our side? Let's find out.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what we needed.
We got the Ursa Furiosa bringing us up to 5 Forsaken exotics. After this, it was back to Crota. We push through and get past the lamps encounter. We follow this up by blasting through the bridge encounter. The Death Singer was next, and we got past that without much struggle. And just like that, it was on to Crota, my dear friend. We quickly send him to the Shadow Realm, and just like that, another weekly challenge was mine. 27 challenges done. The drops I got were alright. I didn't make it to 1800 like I wanted, but at least I was to 1798. After this, I made a visit to Neomuna that wasn't because of a Vex incursion. I noticed this on my director.
Wait, Nimbus visited weekly? For what? What did I do?
I'm assuming this was for the reputation I was gaining from doing all the Vex incursions on Neomuna. I get to Nimbus and I claim the weekly challenge, getting us up to 28 challenges done. We were right there. We also got a heavy weapon which put us up to 1799, which felt amazing. Next, it was time to pick up another trophy. The next trophy I was after was the Belly of the Beast. To beat this trophy, you needed to defeat the final boss in the Leviathan raid. Let me just build a time machine, I guess. Technically, I did do this when I finished the Lightfall campaign. As you probably assumed by now, the trophy was also changed in Beyond Light since the Leviathan raid was put in the DCV and now required a Master Nightfall instead. I find it funny how Bungie didn't rename any of these trophies and they just slapped on different requirements to these old names. Anyways, we couldn't quite yet do a Grandmaster Nightfall, but we very much could do a Master Nightfall, so I thought this made sense to do next. I was shocked that Master Nightfalls were 1840 just like Grandmaster Nightfalls. I hadn't did one in quite some time admittedly, so I didn't really know this. This was definitely going to hurt a little bit more than I was anticipating. We were also very close to the points we needed for another weekly challenge, so this was going to be mutually beneficial. We jump into the Master Corrupted Nightfall and we push through as fast as we can. Just like I was expecting, the ads hurt pretty bad at my current power level. After some patience and some more pain, we were able to complete the Master Nightfall, which granted me the Belly of the Beast trophy, 15 trophies down. We were also able to secure our 29th challenge with those Nightfall points. To balance these positives, the game had to throw a negative and give me a Forsaken exotic that I of course already had in Ursa Furiosa. No matter, this minor disappointment was overshadowed by what happened when I went through my loot that I got for the Master Nightfall.
Oh, amazing helmet. We got there.
Let's go.
We finally made it to 1800 in under 36 hours, which I was extremely proud of. With that being said, it was time to run it back. It was Grandmaster Nightfall time. We dive in and it's full steam ahead for our prestige trophy. Just like the last Nightfall, this hurts extremely bad. No matter, can't let this get to me now. We were so close to the trophy. After some patience and even more persistence, we made it through the Grandmaster and the prestige trophy was mine.
Yeah, I know, me too. I actually hit it with my tether, I'm surprised.
16 trophies down. We also got the MK44 stand-asides, another exotic that we didn't need, but I wasn't tripping as we finally didn't have the pressure of getting to 1800 over our heads anymore. I also was able to get the new Nightfall bow from a seasonal challenge that I've never even gotten on my main account, funny enough. With all that out of the way, we were now officially past the day-and-a-half mark. The next thing on our list was going to be knocking out some of the gimmies that I had skipped earlier in the challenge due to being in a rush. The first thing I was going to do was Ikora's subclass quest for the Heart of Inmost Light that requires a ton of different void kills. That shouldn't be too difficult, right? Yeah, I shouldn't have opened up my big mouth.
Basically, I have a battery that continues to power my PCs when, like, power outages and stuff goes off, or like when internet outages go out. I think that, like, I'm live, yeah, but none of my monitors are on. Like, I almost feel like I need to, like, plug them into the battery. Okay, I think I might understand. I think. I think we might have blown a fuse, possibly? I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what happened.
I unfortunately blew a fuse in my room, and half of my room lost power. The beeping that you heard was my PC running on a very limited battery backup that eventually died, resulting in my stream also dying in the process. After running downstairs to my circuit breaker, I realized no circuit was tripped, so I wasn't really sure what to do. Luckily, after a few short minutes, it came back on and we were back. Would it even be a challenge stream at this point if it didn't have hail in it, or crazy winds, tornadoes, thunderstorms, blown power, PC crashes? Something always has to happen. At this point, it was just a constant. After getting back on track, we were able to get our void kills done. This meant that we just needed to do a quick lost sector and then another Forsaken exotic would be ours. We knock out the lost sector as fast as we can, and then it was time to return to Ikora.
There it is. And another Forsaken exotic, thank God. In 3, 2, 1. Oh. Another one, y'all.
After all the craziness, we were awarded with the Heart of Inmost Light, bringing us up to 6 Forsaken exotics, more than halfway done. After this, it was back to, don't say it. Please don't say it. New Light. Unfortunately, our Hunter and Warlock needed to finish the rest of the New Light campaign before I could unlock their subclasses. We pushed forward past the first few missions and end up at the tower for our favorite tower tour. After this, it was back to Navoda once again to pierce our ears. Then, all that was left was heading back to Zavala, and then after that we could speak to Ikora. Once we spoke to Ikora, we were given our subclass quest to unlock our Void and Arc supers. Once we had the quests, it was on to Shirochi to get as many Void kills as possible. This wasn't too bad and I completed it before I knew it. Then we got the Arc kills done just as easily after killing enough thralls with my wrist runner. Once this was done, I claimed both subclasses and here was the result following.
Here we go, let's switch to Arc. Boom. Let's switch to Void. Boom. Trophy done, Cade's Pathfinder.
Just like that, Cade's Pathfinder trophy was ours. 17 trophies down. Next, it was on to farming Arc ability kills in Shirochi as Ikora had a free Forsaken exotic waiting for us. After jolting more ads than I really care to remember, we completed this and it was on to a quick lost sector. In no time at all, it was completed. After this, all that was left was heading to Ikora and claiming my next exotic.
6 Coyote. Let's go.
We got the 6 Coyote, bringing us up to 7 Forsaken exotics. It would have been cool if we would have got the 6 Coyote as our 6th Forsaken exotic, but my next plan was completing 3 quick strikes on my Hunter, as this would give us a couple different challenges for not only doing my Hawthorne commendations, but also for the 3 ritual activities as well, which would bring us to our next trophy. We followed this up with the Hypernet Current Strike. When we did our commendations, once we completed it, I was fully expecting to see our next trophy, but this is what ended up happening.
Huh?
Yeah, we didn't get our challenge accepted trophy despite having 30 challenges. Once again, I had another trophy that just wasn't working. Lots of Reddit posts claim that this trophy doesn't work correctly despite most sources saying it's just a complete weekly challenges that have yellow circles. I decided to finish my next strike as this would give us another weekly challenge. Maybe, just maybe, the next one would register? I finished the Proving Ground strike, and here's what happened.
We got the other challenge. There's our exotic.
Nope.
31 weekly challenges done and still no challenge accepted trophy. This made no sense. I just didn't understand what I was doing wrong. I head to the tower after this to open my exotic engram that I'm hoping will be a Forsaken exotic to slightly lighten the mood.
1 Forsaken.
And to my surprise, we get the Trinity Ghoul, bringing us up to 8 Forsaken exotics. After this, it was back to more strikes. We knocked out a quick Insight Terminus, followed by a Glassway, and then we finished it up with Arms Dealer to hopefully knock out this trophy. Here's what happened.
Here we go.
Well fought, Guardian.
We did get an exotic. It says weekly ritual challenge. Like, you see that at the bottom when it says that?
Unfortunately, our 30-second challenge didn't complete the trophy. The exotic ended up being the sealed Ahamkara Grasp, if any of you guys were curious, which unfortunately we didn't need. I sat at my computer contemplating what in the world I could do to make this trophy complete, and while I was thinking about it, a Red War incursion spawned. I hurried over to hopefully get a rare and fabled Forsaken exotic. Here's what I got.
Antaeus Wards, Antaeus Wards, Antaeus Wards. How many Warmind exotics can your boy get?
Right on cue. Anyways, I was actually about to go grab some quick food after this, but another Vex incursion spawned, which meant it was time to head right back. To save you the suspense, I didn't get a Red War exotic, and instead I got a Lightfall exotic in the Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap. After this, I took another small break as the game was hurting me deeply. I decided that I would take a much needed shower, go grab some food, and close my eyes for a quick hour before we got back to it. After this small break, it was right back as we were now 10 minutes from the 48-hour straight mark of streaming. It was time to get the challenge accepted trophy, and I didn't care what it took. We jump on my hunter and knock out a battleground to kick off our final hunter ritual challenge. Our second ritual activity was Birthplace of the Vile, and this was perfect for getting all of our Zavala bounties done. The question was, would 33 challenges be the magic number? Let's find out.
Nice. Weekly bounties challenge.
Fight!
I don't see the trophy, but we did get it done.
Nope. Of course it wouldn't complete. No matter, we would have 2 more attempts at this coming up very, very soon. After dealing with the Witch Queen glitch again, of course.
Or I don't even know if this counts as 3 individuals or just 1. Also, it's giving me the Witch Queen glitch. Can you take us in?
We dive into Scarlet Keep, and I instantly had a chance at redemption. Here's what ended up happening.
We can just finish the strike. That's it for Banshee. Another weekly challenge completed and another not it giving me anything.
34 challenges? And yet another fail at the trophy. I tried to keep hope alive as I knew that we would complete another challenge at the end of this strike. When we beat Scarlet Keep, here's what happened.
There's another challenge and then another exotic. Nope. But unfortunately no triumph.
35 challenges completed, and unfortunately no trophy to show for it. Funny enough, one post said that they didn't get the trophy until they got to 37 challenges. Could this actually have some truth to it? At this point, I would try anything. I was crafting up as many theories as I could at this point. I was wondering which challenges might not count, which ones did count, and ultimately, what in the world was I missing? I couldn't waste any more time as it was off to the tower. I stopped by Zavala first to pick up the chivalric fire sword that we had unlocked with all the strikes that got my hunter to almost 1800. After this, it was off to Raoul to open up our final ritual exotic engram that we had just received. Would it be a Forsaken exotic? Let's find out.
Please, Forsaken exotic. More Red War.
Not even shocked at this point. Moving on, I claimed a few seasonal challenges and I was able to unlock our level 59 season pass exotic, which meant we had a chance at redemption. Would it be our moment? We just couldn't win in any department at this point. Next, it was time to pick up Shax's bounties. We could pick up another challenge as well as completing a trophy that we had been putting off. The Show Me What You Got trophy required completing the Light Reforged Shax quest. For those that remember, this used to require playing Control, Rumble, Elimination, and Survival, but they've since narrowed it some. Our first task was completing 2 Control matches. Easy enough. Within these 2, I completed another challenge, this time being my 8 Shax bounties that I blasted through. Unfortunately, challenge number 36 also gave us nothing. After a few short minutes, the second match ended and we progressed the first step. The next step was 2 more control matches and collecting 125 rank points. The nice thing about completing so many quests, seasonal challenges, bounties, and weekly challenges was that we were gaining so much XP. We were up to level 65 in the season pass, which meant we now had access to 2 more exotic engrams. We headed to the tower to open these engrams up to hopefully put the Forsaken trophy behind us. Here's what we got.
1.
Queenbreaker's bow dropped, bringing us up to 9 Forsaken exotics. We were now finally 1 away. Would our second one also bear fruit and finish our Forsaken suffering?
And 1. I'll take it, honestly. I got my favorite exotic.
Unfortunately not, but I was happy to get the Lion Rampants as they're my favorite Titan exotic. We had been streaming for 50 hours straight, and I had only had a 1-hour nap and more breakfast tacos than I cared to remember to keep me going. After this, it was back into control to finish the second step of Light Reforged. After a couple wins, we finished this step, meaning we were at the halfway point of the quest. What was the next step? You guessed it. More control. I miss the old version of this trophy. There's just way too much control going on here. This time, we also needed 250 more additional rank points. After our first match, funny enough, this happened.
Black Talon's Catalyst.
The Black Talon Catalyst dropped, which I hope meant good luck for us going forward. After one more win, we were on to the final step. This time it required 2 competitive matches and 500 rank points. After I had the required matches, I unfortunately still needed more points. Because of this, I decided to finish the points in Relic to start working towards the Crucible Labs weekly. This required playing 3 Crucible Labs matches. We jump into Relic, and after it finishes, we secured the points we needed to finish the Light Reforged quest, which meant that all that was left between me and another trophy was Shax. I go to see Shax and tell him he is something that belongs to me. Here's what he said.
It is time. Give me the helmet, but more importantly, give me my trophy. Yes! And it completed instantly too. Show me what you got. That's mine.
He gave us the Show Me What You Got trophy, bringing us up to 18 trophies. I wanted to be excited, but the challenge accepted trophy was still laughing at me. Without even taking any time to celebrate, it was back into Crucible to finish my remaining 2 Relic matches. After the second game, I said a prayer that lucky number 37 would complete our trophy, and here's what happened.
There's no shortage of relics if you want to try again.
We finished the 3rd Relic match, and unfortunately the trophy didn't pop up. This was going awful, but I could have sworn that I noticed something, or better yet, didn't notice something. Let's look at the instant replay.
There's no shortage of relics if you want to try again.
The weekly challenge never popped up for Crucible Labs despite finishing our 3rd match. We also confirmed that the powerful was no longer on my screen. I was kinda perplexed on what this meant, or better yet, what it didn't mean. For now, we decided not to count this as a weekly challenge as the 36 previous challenges all popped up at the bottom of the screen. This meant that the 37 challenge theory from Reddit was still on the table. It was a meme at this point, but it was all I had to hold on to. After this, it was time to knock out our next challenge. Insert joke here, my soul's too crushed to be creative at this point. It's time for more New Light! I'll save you all the details since you know them at this point. I finished the New Light missions, followed by a quick tower tour, followed by a Navoda strike that ended by me talking to Zavala. After this, all that was left was talking to Ikora to pick up the subclass quests. Once we would complete my Solar and Arc subclasses, I would gain access to another easy trophy for the taking. I head back to Shirochi and I get to grinding as fast as I can, first finishing the Solar kills and then finishing the Arc kills after. After this, it was back to Ikora to hopefully claim our prize.
Yes! Okay, cool. There it is. Let's go.
And just like that, we hit 19 trophies. Believe it or not, there was still one more easy trophy for the taking. We had 9 Forsaken Exotics, and lucky for us, Ikora had a guaranteed Forsaken Exotic in the subclass quest waiting for us. This meant that I would never have to see a Red War incursion again. It was time to pick up the quest, and time to get to work. We head back to Shirochi to get the Void ability kills one final time. The weekend kills took forever, but with some patience, we get it done. Next, it was time for one final Nessus Lost Sector before I could head to Ikora to claim my prize. We loot the Lost Sector and then we head to the tower. It was time for the moment of truth. But before we do that, let's recap our Forsaken Exotics thus far. We had the One-Eyed Mask, Wishender, Black Talon, Ace of Spades, Ursa Furiosa, Heart of Inmost Light, the Six Coyote, Trinity Ghoul, and the Queen Breaker's Bow. We were now at 9 Forsaken weapons and armor that had the Forsaken logo on it. We weren't even really sure if this is what we were needing to do, and if this didn't work, I didn't know if I had the strength to keep pushing on in this challenge. I was already exhausted. It was time to put this online post to the test. Was the actual requirement to only obtain Forsaken armor and weapon pieces that came out at the launch of Forsaken? It was time to find out.
Boy, Yes, thank you. Thank you, it worked. It actually worked. It worked.
It actually worked. The Exotique trophy didn't specify that it only counted Forsaken launch exotics and that it wasn't counting the full year, unlike the Life exotic trophy, which counted all Red War exotics, including Curse of Osiris and Warmind. These descriptions were killing me. The back and forth had worn me down, but finally we were officially at 20 trophies done and only 3 more to go. I was feeling good, but I needed that challenge accepted trophy to really feel like this challenge was still possible. This meant it was time for more challenges. To start, it was back to dueling Karu on my hunter for our next weekly challenge. Would magical number 37 be our number? Let's see.
Good old duel. Duel. Weekly challenge done. Challenge done. Dungeon completed.
Nope. Just more pain and more sadness. 37 challenges done and still no trophy to show for it. At this point, the only thing I had left to go on was a Reddit post saying that after 40 challenges it still hadn't completed, and that wasn't very reassuring. All I could do is keep pushing. Would our Warlock attempt at dueling Karu be the run? Let's find out.
Very nice. Shattered Throne Flawless, it says. Dungeon complete. Weekly challenge.
This was starting to actually get ridiculous. 38 challenges and still nothing. Possibly 39 if the Crucible Labs weekly counted, I might add. After this, I jumped into a strike on my Warlock to knock out my Banshee bounties, which weren't too difficult on the Arms Dealer strike. Here's what happened when I did.
There it is. Now I just gotta go pick that up from Banshee. And I'll be technically 19.
More nothing, unfortunately. 39 challenges done and 1 away from 40. Surely 40 had to be the key to unlocking this trophy. Surely.
There it is. Hawthorne.
Nope.
Weekly challenge.
Nope. Banshee's challenge unfortunately didn't save the day, and we were now at 40 challenges with no trophy. I was desperate, and I was officially at my limit, and I didn't know how much more of this I could take. It was time to dig deep.
How about I just get the trophy on this one? Yeah. I'll probably get the exotic now and like not my dungeon challenge, like one of these. Not gonna get it now. Wait! It gave it me! It gave it to me! Hold on, it's not here. Hold on, one second. Let's go to orbit. Oh.
We're so back.
Oh my gosh, it's there.
We're there. Let's go.
There.
Last Void.
After 45 challenges, the challenge accepted trophy was ours. 21 trophies down and only 2 more to go. The feeling of relief I felt you couldn't even understand. We had to do 15 extra challenges. Once again, my message to Bungie is please update the descriptions of the trophies, please. At the bare minimum, at least have an in-game tracker for this trophy so that we can see how far we're going. For all my new players, if you're trying to get the challenge accepted trophy, be prepared to sit down for 45 or possibly even 46 challenges. I'm not even gonna begin to question which challenges actually counted and which ones didn't, but I'll put this up on the screen and pause it so you can see every challenge that I did. What a journey, and all that stood between me and this challenge being over was 2 more trophies. One of these trophies wouldn't take much effort, but the other would be like climbing a mountain. Let's start with the easy one. The wishing for the best trophy required completing a Last Wish raid. Easy enough. The second was the Legend Grows trophy that requires 5,000 triumph points. Not so easy enough. This was daunting, and I figured that it would take forever. We were approaching the 60-hour mark and my brain was already mush at this point from the lack of sleep. Before tackling this trophy though, we needed to actually know how high our triumph score really was since I hadn't claimed anything up to this point besides the Fatebreaker seal. Based on everything you've seen up to this point in our journey, do you think our triumph score was A, under 1,000, B, between 1,000 and 2,000, C, between 2,000 and 3,000, or D, above 3K? Let's find out.
My triumph score is at 2,099.
To those of you who guessed C, congratulations. This was gonna be an absolute grind. I started looking through the triumphs and quickly realized that all the triumphs are not created equally. Some triumphs barely give any points, and then there's others that give massive amounts. Coincidentally, the most rewarding triumphs by far were the Last Wish ones, giving up to 200 a pop. If Last Wish would have been the rotating raid, this would have been a breeze as I would have been able to crutch almost solely all Last Wish triumphs. Unfortunately, due to it not being the featured raid, I could only get about 1,000 points from Last Wish based on my calculations. What this ultimately meant was that my plan was going to be to grind my triumph score to 4,000 and then I would just jump into Last Wish to farm the triumphs to not only get my triumph score trophy done, but also the Last Wish trophy in one fell swoop. Until then though, it was going to be a lot of lost sectors, public events, golden chests, and more. Our plan was set, and it was time to get to work. Cue the music.
$3,000. $35. $4,014.
We had finally passed the 4K triumph score mark. It had taken 7 grueling hours to get to this point and I was running on fumes. But it was finally time for our Last Wish triumphs to bring this challenge to a close. Only 1K triumph points remained. We got lucky in a Europa public event that I had been needing for hours spawned before we could even start the raid, so I headed over there to grab some very easy triumph points, bringing us up to 4,100 points before we even dove into the raid. It was now finally time to raid. Just like Fatebreaker, I'll tell you the triumphs as we do them so I don't have to bore you with them all up front. Before even flying into the raid, we make sure to all jump on our warlocks, we make sure to have our solar subclasses on, and finally we make sure that everybody is in the CB Subathon clan. This would knock off 3 easy triumphs when we finish the raid right off the back. We start off with Callie and she doesn't provide any resistance as we send her to the Shadow Realm quickly. This was even easier because there was no challenge tied to her. Shuro was our next victim, and once again we pressed onwards, not having to worry about completing any challenges. Next was Morgeth, and we did have a triumph to snag here. It's called the Forever Fight, and it requires you to not kill any ogres during the entire fight except for Morgeth, of course. This isn't too difficult, it just requires dragging everything out a little bit. With some patience, the triumph was ours.
Seriously, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Forever fight.
This triumph was worth 150 points and it brought us up to 4,264 triumph points. Next was the vault encounter. After a few penumbras and antumbras, the encounter was over. Next was Riven, and due to the existence of the cheese, this fight was over within a few seconds. After this, all that was left was Queen's Walk to finish off the raid. After a few unfortunate wipes, we delivered the heart and the raid was over. And with that, we got the Clan Night Last Wish triumph that required raiding with an entire clan, we got the Sunburn triumph that required doing the entire raid on a solar subclass, and the new meta triumph which required doing the entire raid on one class.
And then complete. Oh, it did. There it is. Wishing the best. There it is.
After a small delay, we got one more triumph called O Murderer Mine for completing Last Wish that gave us our Wishing for the Best trophy, bringing us up to 22 trophies. Only one more remained. Would we get 1,000 voices to add the cherry on top?
Alright, time to play Deal or No Deal.
Here it is. 3, 2, 1K, go. Apex Predator.
Nope. Unfortunately, the RNG gods had no more luck to give us, which I wasn't really too worried about as we are now at 4,864 points. The Last Wish triumphs were insanely rewarding. The next challenge we'd get would mark the completion of this challenge. Just as a recap, we now have been going for almost 70 hours with just a 1-hour nap under our belt. The finish line was right here in sight, and I couldn't be happier. All that was left was one final raid. We decided to do the Thunderstruck Triumph, which required a full Last Wish with everyone on an Arc subclass. First we downed Callie, that didn't take much effort. I couldn't have been any happier to never have to see Shirochi again, defeating her as well. Morgeth went down next as he was no match for us. And then after a few quick rotations, we had escaped out of the vault. Riven was the final boss that stood in our way for this challenge. But something really unexpected happened at the end of this fight.
Contralink time. You've slain Riven with the. Oh, I gotta complete the Strength of Memory challenge. How much does that give? I just want to double check and see. I don't know what that is, but I don't know if we calculated for that.
Fetch the heart. Hurry.
Somehow, we got the Strength of Memory triumph when it wasn't even the Riven challenge rotation. This shouldn't have been possible, but somehow we got it? In true me fashion, instead of collecting the triumph and completing this challenge and sleeping for 1,000 hours, I might add, I decided that that wasn't good enough and we were gonna not grab the triumph, we were gonna finish the raid, and we were gonna claim the triumph that we originally planned on grabbing. We passed the heart from teammate to teammate, and as if it had been written by a higher power, by fate, we ended up being chosen last, and I got to deliver the heart which had my final trophy waiting for me. I said a quick prayer that we wouldn't run into any other unexpected things and that this challenge would please just end when I picked up the trophy, and then it was time to dunk the heart. Here's what happened.
Oh my gosh.
I am glad you did not do worse. We will finish this.
We were here, yo. We were here. Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Oh my gosh. Now it's time for the final one. Alright. Where is it at? Where is it at?
Huh?
Where is it? Where is it? Where's my trophy? Where's my trophy? Where's my trophy? Where's my trophy? Don't play me like this. Don't even think about playing me like this.
We now had over 5,200 Triumph points, and the Triumph didn't pop up? It had almost been 68 hours. I didn't have time for these games. I was going crazy, and I was convinced that this challenge was just probably never gonna end. But after I logged out of the game and logged back in one final time, this happened.
Okay, 53. I need to switch characters? Don't do this to me. Don't do me like this. I still doesn't have it. Come on, let me... What about maybe next character? Come on. Come on. Yes! 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 All of them, we got them all! Oh my, 100%, let's go!
There was only one final thing left to do. It was time to log into my PS5 and see the Traveler's Chosen trophy pop up, which was the PlayStation Platinum trophy for Destiny 2. It wouldn't be a Platinum challenge if we didn't, after all. We had done it. The adrenaline rushed through my body despite me not sleeping for what felt like years. The stream had been going for over 67 hours and I had only slept for one of those hours, so my bed was calling me. My mind was already on the next Destiny 1 Platinum challenge though, so if you guys want to make that happen, make sure to like and subscribe and join the Patreon so we can start planning it, and follow the Twitch at twitch.tv/cbgray to see it live. And just like that, this concluded the story of how I Platinum Destiny 2, collecting all 23 trophies in 2 days, 19 hours, 48 minutes, and 5 seconds in one stream. Thanks for watching. And Bungie, please change the description of some of these trophies. Alright, thanks, bye. Thanks to Surfshark for the sponsor, and don't forget to click on that link below in the description.